Well, it seems appropriate that this be your view while I have this discussion. So I've had this on the back burner for 2 to 3 weeks. We had like minus 35 for like, I don't even remember, 4 days in a row. Was it 2 weeks ago, I think? Just 2 weeks ago. And then this past week, there was no snow on the ground. It was plus 15 for like 3 days in a row. Everything was just, you could see all the grass and everything. There's no snow. And then last night, we got dumped on. So it's Sunday today. What is it, February 3rd? 4th. It's February 4th today, Sunday. We got just dumped on. But during those few weeks, or a couple weeks ago, I mean, those days where it was like real cold, I started getting like paranoid and stuff again, and that's kind of where, again, this discussion is headed. I definitely, yeah. I get freaked out by things like natural disasters because of mob mentality stuff. So I think that it's one of those things, like preppers are constantly talking about, you know, being self-sufficient and whatever, which I totally get. I don't have any natural or nurtured skills and abilities when it comes to figuring things out like that. Again, I think there's learned skills here too that could be applicable, but I definitely just, it's not something that I have been prepared for. Of like, hey, you know, if this happens, you should be ready and have your own food source, or know how to do this, or know how to build a random shelter. And we're talking about too, like, it's minus 35, and imagine your heat goes out, and then I understand how the freedom in being self-reliant. I understand how much peace you would have. Like, hey, if anything goes down, I got the skills, I can handle this. You know, me and my buddy, or me and my family, or whatever, we got it. You know, we're good. Because I get freaked out, and part of it is because in times like that, other people are also stressed, and some people have no skill or abilities, but they've got guns, or they've got a lot of people, and they might want to take your resources, and it becomes about that. And it's like, I know that's some like doomsday, post-apocalyptic, you know, movie narrative, but I think it comes from a real place, and we just haven't had to face that here in that way of like, okay, well, this is what it actually looks like when you've got this thing happening for this many days. You don't have communication, people are going rogue, like doing whatever they want. So it's a thing that I believe is a real concern if the circumstances were right. And I don't think it would take a whole lot for the circumstances to be right, because a lot of times they're environmental. And those environmental circumstances are not things that we are prepared for because, well, there's a lot of different reasons. But I think that people don't want to admit that it could be an issue, or we don't have the infrastructure, whatever. The resources aren't there, or aren't being put there to create education and awareness about certain issues that may happen, I think. So anyway, we've got, you know, things like getting snowed in, whatever. I just get freaked out. Yeah, mob mentality already freaks me out, just because people are already not super rational, and we see this like being politicized as well. You're in large groups, you're in numbers, you've got groupthink going on. Maybe 1 or 2 people are shouting certain things and everyone's just going along with it. You're not taking a moment to pause about what are your values, what are your things you believe in, and you're caught up in this moment. And I think that can be really, really detrimental to people on the other end of that hive, that groupthink, that, you know, safety in numbers type mentality, that mob mentality. So that always freaks me out. But then you add in something like weather, and yeah, it definitely ends up being something I get scared about and something I get paranoid about. But yeah, it was a few weeks ago when I had it on the brain a lot more because it was much more relevant. So that's kind of where I was coming at. I don't really know what to do. I mean, the only thing I could do about it are things that I feel like I don't want to do, which is like own guns, and it becomes that dumb thing of like, well, other people have guns, so now I need them. And it's like, well, I don't think that helps the issue. And there's a lot of things with that. Or like, but again, you don't have to go that route. You could just be, again, I don't know. It becomes this thing. Imagine you have resources. Let's say I learned the skills. Let's say that I decided I'm gonna prep, and I'm gonna have a year's worth of food, and I'm gonna learn how to build, I don't even know what, learn how to build stuff and have a exterior generator, or well, I don't know, like, oh, if things go down, we're prepared. But you do all that without the protection piece, and then you might have people that have, you know, the mentality to just be like, hey, well, we know that people aren't, you know, super gun savvy around here, or that's not their priority, so we're just going to do the gun part, and then we're going to go and take everyone's stuff, right? And then it's like, okay, well then that's why we need guns too. And I don't know, again, it just becomes this whole thing, and it just freaks me out that I have no faith that people will come together in those circumstances, that they will come together and help out, you know, their fellow humans. I just don't have any faith that that would be a thing that happens. It would be beautiful. It would be nice if you lived in a community where you felt, you know, you could do that. And the smaller the town, you know, the more likely that would actually happen. I mean, you get a chance to know people, not just judge people based off of this, that, and the other. You could even live next to your neighbors and never talk to them. But if you lived in a small town, it's a lot harder to do. You get to know people, and you'd have to go out of your way a lot more to not get to know people in some regards. So, I don't know. This is just a rant about me getting paranoid about stuff that may never happen, but when it gets close, it freaks me out. I guess that's that.